Welcome back, everybody, to Cool Times Podcast, where we talk all things cool in the cold storage construction industry. Joining me, the one and only business and life partner, Miss Jenna Free.
What's up,
I am Vince Free, and we have a special episode today to bring you guys. It's our first one. It's our sponsorship spotlight, and it's a series we're doing for all of our sponsorships that help make our show possible. And we have two tiers of sponsorships. We have a cool level and a chill level, and anyone that comes in on the cool level, which is the upper one, we invite them out to the in-studio podcast recording.
There we go.
Have a little one-on-one time. Show's a little bit different, a little bit more laid back. The questions are going to be different and geared different. So
Different format.
Totally different format, super laid back, low key. First one.
Yes, here we go.
With our good friend, Chase Deaton, the director of sales for cold storage with Rytec PerformanceDoors. And in studio for the first time, Chase.
Studio.
How are you, my man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely.
You're our first guest that had second time on the show.
Yes.
You're our first.
And our first sponsor.
And you are our first sponsor, and you're a two-time champ.
Who's going to be a trendsetter?
I love it.
You're a two-time champ, baby. How's that feel?
I'll take it on a Tuesday here in the great state of Tejas.
Absolutely.
It is a great day. Nice warm day.
Absolutely.
Chase, you're a legend in the industry, and I mean that. A great friend of ours.
You come up on several podcasts.
Yeah, you come up on our podcast. You're like being sold, man. Like
we're not to start a drinking game for
we don't get through a podcast without Chase Deaton or Dean Soul being mentioned. But
that's nice. That's good company.
It's great company.
Absolutely.
And what's cool is, no pun intended. What's cool is that you are able to manage the entire United States and support every single design build general contractor and low temp contractors and still maintain your sanity.
That's debatable. There's several people probably challenge you on that one right there, Vince.
How on earth do you find time to cover the United States and handle every single design build general contractor and low temp contractor? Because you guys are insanely popular. You guys have a phenomenal product, which we will get into. But man, how do you manage your time?
That's a very good question. I don't know if I manage it. To be quite frank. Sometimes I feel like time is managing me, right?
Right.
So really, at the end of the day, I have a good team behind me, and we have a good support staff that has come along. Chris Copus has been my right hand for 7 years, my inside sales support.
Yeah.
He's come along nicely. He's turned into a really good quality potential psychopath. So he'll be good. He's almost there. He's a Wisconsin guy, so he's still a lot of
How old
goodness.
is that guy now? How old is Chris?
Chris, I think, he may be 99, 120 years old. I think he's been earth walking for a while. He's a vampire, I'm pretty sure. But no, I have on a serious note, we have a really good team and who has supported the group. And Rytec forever been real fortunate in the fact that we had 20-year veterans, and that's very unusual for any industry. We've gone through some transition here recently with that happens.
Yeah.
And so we're working through that and getting everyone coached up. But to manage the time, it's really just at the end of the day, I hate losing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I truly take it as competition, and that's fair competition. You can be friendly to your competitors, but it's just that competitive side of me, and that's what keeps me going. And really, at the end of the day, no one's giving me any money. No one give it to me. Ain't no tree going in Chase's backyard, so I have to go get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eat what you kill, man.
That's it, and that's how I was brought up, and that's how I think I'm going to go out as well.
Oh, I love it. Well, hopefully we don't see you go out anytime soon.
Hey, I don't think that's going to happen. Who knows? It's early. It's early.
We want to keep you around a while.
Yes, we have so much fun.
Yeah.
So tell me, Chase, with that competition, like that motivates you, and this could be personally or professionally, like how do you handle disappointment then? Like when you don't get it, like do you have a ritual that you go through to like get through that? Because I know how we are when we lose, and it's a part of life.
You don't lose. Anytime we lose, we're winning. Because we gain experience off that loss.
There we go. Anyways, I'm not interviewing you, I'm interviewing Chase. So how do you handle the disappointments? How do you handle when it does happen?
That's a really good question. It's taken years to get to that point, and not take it personally, but I do.
Oh, yeah.
So anyone out there who's not buying from me, I'll still not take it personally. So it's your fault.
I have a list.
Just saying, I'm keeping it, checking it twice.
Yeah.
But I've learned what I've done is just really try to be more of a consultative sell
Yeah.
on the process and educate people, which is what we've been doing with SEPA
Yes.
and working diligently for the last 10 years to really get that up to speed and really show the expertise within the industry. And once you tie into that, I mean, it's like anything else. Nick Saban said it best: mediocrity and excellence don't live with one another.
That's
Well,
so true.
either you're going to be this or that,
Yeah.
and that's just what it is. And for me, I've been fortunate and raised in a way that I didn't like to lose,
Yeah.
and so with that, when you don't have an opportunity, you just want to make sure you educate the people and say, hey, here's what we're offering, complete, because a lot of people don't do that.
That's so true.
And that's the challenge. And then the key behind that is, and we've talked about this before, there's not a high-speed door project you put in anywhere where you're not going to have an issue. There's going to be an opportunity to step up. And that's, what we pride ourselves upon is when there's an issue, taking care of it. Yeah, and that takes a lot of fortitude, because a lot of people want to play in the cold storage space
Sure.
until they don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need thick skin and a big winter coat.
You do.
Now, there's a lot going on with Rytec right now. What are exciting things happening in the Rytec world right now that you want to share for 2023? What's coming out? What different things you got going on? Are we allowed to say right now? Or is it a secret?
No, it's not a secret. Actually, we've come along with upgrading our manufacturing facilities to what we call a smart factory. We go into automation, robotic welding, paint booth, the whole deal.
Wow.
We made that transition at the latter part of last year. We'll be done with it probably in Q3 of this year. We're already seeing a significant pickup in terms of lead times, such as has been a challenge.
Okay.
So right now, that's been incredibly exciting for us. And really, we always pride ourselves in the past not being a snowflake as from a manufacturing process. But we were literally human intervention. It was literally assembly. Now we're complete, manufacturing, robotic welding. The process is going to be a much higher end product from a quality perspective, and then also be able to get these things out quickly and be the lead times within 6 to 8 weeks rather than the 16 to 20 we've been trying to manage for the last 2 years.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
It's going to be it's going to be a significant advancement for our organization.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's huge. Speaking of snowflakes, and not the ones that, cry when they don't get their way, but high-speed doors and doors in general are never 100% perfect, right? And that's the misconception in our industry, is that everyone thinks that, I got this really cool fancy door and it's going open 500 times a day. Why do I still have a little bit of ice here or a little bit of ice there? What the heck? It's like, dude, really? What are you doing? Like nothing is perfect, I mean, my goodness, right? I mean, I'm sure you get those phone calls or text messages every day, like, there's a little bit of ice over here, or a little bit of ice over there. I dealt with that environment for years. It's like, really? You should have saw your opening before this door,
Yeah, that's the challenge. And I guess with that, that's a question that how to deal with it.
I mean,
The first question I ask is, who owns the humidity? Now, at that point, I usually duck and cover because it's coming, right? But that's the truth, because I know it. And if that's not the truth, then I don't know what I'm talking about. And that's a very good possibility as well. But at the end of the day, you're right, there's nothing perfect there. And then also, you look at a product that typically is in high cycle applications, demanding applications.
Sure.
They're critical to the organization, to the facility, the operation. And when they go down, it is a nightmare, right?
absolutely.
And so then no one thinks about these things bouncing them down 1,000 times a day with little, if any, preventive maintenance, by the way.
Oh, I know.
And we highly recommend it to the people out there. Change the oil in your car.
Yeah.
You see the white smoke, you got a problem. Let's just integrate that, right? Because you get, for the organization, it's safer. It extends the life of your equipment, and it's just a better operation, and that's a challenge for everybody.
Yeah.
But you're right. Right now is a good time because about mid-May to June to about October is when we get the phone calls. So the doors don't work, and that's when the humidity is at higher levels.
Speaking of preventative maintenance, you guys have a huge distribution network of certified installers all over the United States. Do they offer preventative maintenance programs to owners where they can buy it, where, hey, they're going to come in every 6 months or come in once a year and do the whole top to bottom oil change, rotate the tires?
Absolutely, we offer that. And it's interesting though, because I don't believe many proactively push that though.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think
I don't
that's,
think they do.
I don't think they do. I think that's something that's kind of gone the way where so many people said, no, we do it ourselves on staff maintenance and such, but I don't think people push that. But it's something that definitely needs to be done. And it's being fiscally responsible with your equipment, you know, and it's just safer, it's better for everybody. And the thing with high-speed doors is really, instead of hating them when they start icing and frosting, it's telling you what's going on in your facility.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great litmus test on what's happening in your facility. So it shows you right there, there could be a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Good to know.
Would you say that this conversation, this idea of like these doors being like perfect, is that like a common misconception that you've encountered in your career at Rytec? Like, is that a misconception that people think like, oh, it's just supposed to be perfect?
Well, yeah, especially after you go to the expense of the door.
Yes.
You know, they look at that and say, okay, well, this is a $40,000 door.
Mm-hmm.
This should be doing this, and that, the other. You know, but there's so many things behind that, though. You know, you guys do an outstanding job of bringing it up. You know, where's the armor joint supposed to be cut?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how are you sealing the opening? How are you caulking the opening? What are you using for that?
Right.
Little things like that go a long way. And the big thing is we talk about, you know, bollard design to protect the openings, actuation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and those are key factors that regardless of the brand of product that you work with,
Yeah.
you got to focus on actuation and then how you protect the bollard design of these doors, you know, and leaving them wide open. You know, everyone's going to these facilities, you look at any opening, people cut the corners. They don't go directly towards the opening, they cut the corners, they're on top of the opening. It's not safe because, you know, people go in and out, and it's a challenge. And we try to educate people. The goodness is I do believe people are taking note of that and attempting to change.
Totally. Yeah. And then activation is huge. I mean, activation can make an opening. And you guys implemented what's great about Rytec among the million other things that you guys have these LED light systems, right? The green and reds and all these like, hey, this door is about to close, or hey, you know, you guys can set up the activation any way you want. I mean, floor loops, pull cords, motion sensors, and the motion sensors technology has like gone from like 6 to midnight. I mean, it's gotten insane. I mean, these eyes look everywhere now and can detect, you know, machines or people, direction, you know, it's
They're remarkable.
Oh, they are.
They do several things. You know, you have, a group called BEA is the predominant one, right?
Yeah.
They've been out forever, and they have a sensor that's outstanding that does everything.
Yeah.
Everything. The challenge comes into play, though, that everything is when you have humidity and heavy fogging in the facility. What happens is that fogging comes in, typically, you know, obviously the cold side.
Sure.
Billows in and it gives a false open. So when they have a presence sensor involved, and the presence sensors are used because, you know, floor loops back in the day, they're all floor loops.
Yep.
And that was hold open when the equipment was in the loop, within the loop area, right?
Sure.
The throat. Well, now it's not there. So the door starts shutting and the guys rush the doors, right? Sure. Well, with heavy fogging, will make the presence sensors will pick up and they think there's someone in the opening. So it leaves the door open inordinate amounts of time and it just adds insult to injury. And it's a real big challenge. So back to humidity, who owns it?
Yeah, who owns it?
Who owns it?
And on top of that, not every opening is an air door opening, right? I've sold air doors for years. They're very expensive. I mean, if you want a frost-free opening, you can get one, and it's going to cost you a lot of money, not only for the equipment, but you're going to spend a ton of money and energy making this thing that way. And also, you know, it doesn't make sense for a door that's going to open 50 times a day. You know, you need thousands of cycles a day for this thing to even make sense. You know, so they're very limited in what, you know, where you want to put one of those. That's why the fast tracks and, you know, your insulated door is perfect for freezers because it really tackles a lot of the spectrum of, you know, even if you're 30 cycles a day or 1,000 cycles a day, that door is a freaking tank. I think
It's amazing how much abuse these doors have taken and can take. The issue is when you get to that point, one thing we ask people is, okay, this door is moving. Everything's up to 100 inches a second. So it's 70 inches a second. If you're hitting a door moving that fast, you have a safety consideration for you. It's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this door's a little bit faster, so let's buy this one. It's like, okay, really? Like, that split second, the door's already cleared your equipment anyways. Like, what are you talking about?
It's a bunch.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. But, the cool thing about it is, no pun intended,
Hey,
is that they're integral to productivity and efficiency with these assets. And a lot of people don't think about that, how much it costs to run those openings when they're not running effectively.
Oh, yeah.
A half-inch gap around the opening could be a significant loss for you, and you're just bleeding out slowly, right?
Totally.
And then the ice and frost is a slip hazard. Then you have the customers looking at it saying, wait, I'm not at 32 degrees. That's a big deal for food safety.
Sure.
Right? And there's a lot going on with the industry, which is cool because we're bringing in the knowledge base that you guys have been proactive with that. And hats off to you guys for doing that. That's a brave thing you guys have done. It really is, because, this business is full of pirates, right? We're all on the pirate ship together, right? Education is key.
Yeah.
And the big key is finding out, okay, well, the big question is, we have frost and ice. Well, why is that? And that's the question. Well, why? How did that happen?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's because the third shift left the doors. It's nice outside, and maybe the trash compactor door open, or maybe the door didn't move fast enough. So they put a cup over the photo eyes and such, because you're not moving fast enough for me. I don't want to wait on you, right? And that's the big separation that the industry, what we need clients to overcome and help us with is, there's a division in most organizations have a division in operations and sales.
Yeah.
We love each other, but we hate each other, right? We're that. Same thing as operations. You have maintenance, facility maintenance, and then you have the operations staff, and their job is to get these things loaded up and move out the road. How quickly do you do that? And then the other side is without beating the heck out of your facility.
True.
Oh, yeah.
And we get that front and center. So literally, I'm 29 years old, really. And I look like I'm 54.
I love it. Now, speaking of, let's go technical here. Our guests love technical.
Yeah.
And by the way, we love our guests because our guests make this show possible, and they talk about it, spread the love. And
Do I have a call?
More what they
Do I
want.
have a call?
you
Do I have one call? Do I have one call?
That's it. So no, a lot of questions I get from the general contractors are, hey, with these Rytec doors, where do we cut the thermal break in the concrete? All right, where's the armor joint going to go? Can you speak to that? Where they're supposed to put that armor joint in
It
the
needs to
concrete?
cut to allow the door to seat on the joint. Don't
So
cut-
the bottom of the door falls on that thermal joint.
That's correct. That's where we want it to be.
And then where is that off the IMP
Depending
opening?
on the
center?
model, it could be 6 to 8 inches off the IMP wall. 4 to 6-ish in range.
It depends on the product.
Correct.
And your data sheets say that, or your drawings say that? Do your shop drawings say that?
That's a very good question. That's been a point of contention internally at times. It's almost like when people ask us for bucking details on a wall. So we're not building a wall. So you got to be careful. You told us this to do this.
Sure.
So you got to be careful with that. But no, we are now probably a year and a half, we're proactively pushing that on the front side, because, the little fancy serpentine, deal you see between the IMP, it's not doing anyone any good.
Dude, just make a Rytec cheat sheet, man.
Someone told me that.
It's a PDF, make a PDF cheat sheet of things to watch for, right? And give it out to the GCs, and then they have kind of like all right, here's what I need to watch for. This door's that door's that door's that. Each door, all right, I need electrical here, electrical there. Bring in this for that. Just kind of like a one-page cheat sheet. Could be 2 pages, but like that's worth its price in gold.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we are thinking of doing that because all of our buildings we always have a dock door, whether it's an IMP box and box, we got to cut dock door openings, and we have to do dock door wraps, right? Or if it's an exterior IMP project, there's dock door openings. And every single job has a different dock door detail. And it drives me crazy. And everyone wants to do it different. Now I have my own personal Bible of 8 to 12 ways to do this. And literally, I want to give them a piece of paper showing every single detail you can choose and how much it costs for each opening. You know what? Here's the menu. Pick what you want. Keep it simple, stupid.
It works.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they know, So all my competitors out there, now you know what I'm going to do.
Now you know what we're doing.
Now you know what I'm going to do. Bring it. So if anyone sees that out there, you know where it came from. Anyways, let's talk your backing detail for a Rytec freezer door, insulated door. Does the door require any type of special bucking or internal support for an IMP wall to support that product along the IMP wall?
That's a loaded question. And I'm going to give you the straight answer with that. The turbo steel insulated door, for example, is a quasi self-supporting door.
Okay.
So we don't typically need bucking on that. It's all contingent though upon the design, the wall design.
Can the wall
building.
hold it?
Yeah. Right now, what I see is what we're seeing is doors going 20 feet above.
Oh, wow.
So you're having these 9, 10 by 20 doors up to 23 and a half feet tall for some projects coming out now. My opinion on that is it doesn't hurt to bug that opening because of the
Wood in the
size.
panel, right? Pressure treated lumber in the panel, or you can use
Or
HDPE.
plastic, yeah.
So so route out the foam and just cap it. That's all you want.
That's all we want. And a lot of that is stability. You know, the turbo steel inside door doesn't really need it. It's quasi, like I said, self-supporting.
Sure.
Then you have the bi-parting doors with the head assembly. These doors are going to get pounded on.
Mhm.
I believe it's better long-term for the client to have that, but we also know it's a discussion on details you guys have.
Mhm.
You know, that's always, back to the, to buck or not to buck. That
What the
is the
buck?
question, right? What the buck, right?
What the buck?
Ultimately, though, that also gets back to that collaboration with clients and what their expectations are, what you're looking at, because all of goes down, shrinks down, because refrigeration guys will tell you, you don't want any frost or ice? We can build a refrigeration system with no frost or ice, but you got to pay for it.
Mhm.
There's a dollar associated with that.
Sure there is.
And then I've been in facilities sometimes, if you sneeze, that wall moves. So how's the door going to hold up to a forklift?
Yikes.
I don't know.
We'll see.
So that's something that is a very good question. I think it's pointed in the fact that if people aren't asking that question, that's even probably a bigger concern.
Sure. I mean, there's a couple ways to do it. I mean, one way to do it, you just buck the interior IMP wall. The other way to do it is use pressure treated lumber on just the back side of the opening, and then you can do both sides of the
And I prefer, at minimum, I would think the backside, because what happens is then you can do the mirror image framing.
opening. Sure.
So from an aesthetic perspective, you just wrap that.
You eliminate the crush plates.
You don't
Which
see
look
that.
like crap, by the way.
And there's no way to look at it. We go, can you make crush plates at least be congruent with one another, spacing it? It stays still, to me, it's not a good look.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we do them now where when we put the lumber on the back side, we'll countersink our through bolt and nut and the whole 9 yards and then cap it. So then you have a smooth, clean piece to.
That's a great look.
Yeah.
And you get the benefit of the extra support, but the aesthetics is a big deal because you're right. Here's a $50 million facility you walk into and you see crush plate on the back. Then we go, well, can't you guys add the white cap on it? You still see it. I mean, that too. That's almost like saying, oops, I messed up, but now I put,
I'm gonna stand about it.
stop the leak. So yeah, I'm with you on that 100%.
Like that.
It's fit and finish. It's something that separates you from the others.
Mhm.
Sure.
I guess in your time in our industry, have you had, a mentor that has helped you along the way, that has helped develop your skill set, your mindset, how you approach business? If you have one, where'd you meet? How'd you guys build your relationship? You have something like that?
That's a really good question. And I've been real fortunate to have several people along the way in my life career.
Yeah.
But to say they're the one person, the mentor,
Yeah.
God, that's a tough one.
Okay.
That really is a tough one for me to say who that would be. But there's a lot of people who I respect
Mhm.
greatly because of their work ethic and how they do things,
Yeah.
and how they go about their business. And I mentioned this before. One of them is Dean Saul.
Mhm.
I'll say that until the day I die. We can still compete with one another, but
Sure.
at the end of the day, I have a mad respect for how he goes about his business because he does it for the client.
Absolutely.
He takes care of them. Unfortunately, he's just not selling the right product right now. Of course. But we can work on that, Dean.
Yeah, we can work on that.
But no, but Dean is one I always talk about because I respected how he's done his business. But then in this industry, the cool thing about it too is you meet people that you respect. For example, the gentleman I'll throw out right now, my man Rob Brodsky.
Yes.
Oh yeah, love Rob.
Mhm.
How can you not?
Love the guy.
I mean, he's just. So you see people like that who hold themselves with integrity,
Yes.
Yeah.
honor,
Totally.
respect others.
Mhm.
You can't go.
Mhm.
That makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're almost drawn to them. Like I feel like both those two individuals have that quality for
Like
sure.
attracts like,
Mhm.
you know, and that's what happens.
Dana and Rob are some of our favorite humans. They're
Yes.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
So,
We got to get Rob back on with Dana though.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Just make sure he does his buys and try days and get all veiny on you.
absolutely.
With the water hose, as he calls it.
He is freakishly in good shape.
They are both.
They both are.
They
It's
are
obnoxious. It's
in very good
donuts,
shape.
bluebell ice cream and donuts for
Oh,
these
dude,
boys.
and we spent the weekend at Dean's house in South Carolina. Dana and Rob were there, and Dana's for breakfast a Diet Coke. I'm like, what planet are we on? Where
Genetic
you drink
misfits.
Diet Coke in the morning
I
and
love it.
you're just in the most best shape ever. I'm like, what?
I love it.
So I'm gonna try that. Diet Coke for
Well,
breakfast.
it's probably that caffeine. It's a little bit of
It is.
caffeine.
Yeah. She crushes it.
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke for
Well,
breakfast.
it's probably that caffeine. It's
Yeah,
a little bit of
it is.
caffeine.
Yeah.
Like received like an insult. It's like meant to be an insult, but it's actually something that like you were proud of. Has anyone ever done that to you? Where they meant to like, I don't know, almost like take
Rip on me a little bit,
yeah,
but they kind of give
rip
me
on you or
that
take
boy.
a jab at you, and then it's actually something that you're like, oh, that's cute. I'm actually proud of that.
You know, I think I probably get those and ignore it. Now I don't pay
Totally.
attention to it anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have a tendency from what I've understood to be persistent,
Mhm.
you know, follow up. So I think some people look at that as mad and I go, I am slow now. I mean, I look at myself and I am an easy target. You come at me right now because I don't see it that way. But I think, back to that thick skin deal.
Yeah.
I think what happens is it comes with maturity,
Mhm.
which is a big word for me because it gets to a point where you start learning what's important.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this before, is if you treat people like you want to treat your grandmother,
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Damn,
hey,
that's powerful.
Mhm.
it's just like Goose,
Mhm.
the freeze dog.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how can you not like something like that, right?
Mhm.
It's just giving you pure joy,
It just gives you nothing but love.
love, and it's honest. And you know what? If you mess up, you own it, move down the road.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, when people talk about you, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
true.
and I like to think if they don't like me, they just don't know me well enough yet. I'm just misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
Exactly.
Perhaps my blood sugar was low that day.
Yeah,
I made some poor decisions.
maybe hey, I know we have about 10 minutes left. We got to be cognizant of your time. It's hard to pin people down these days. I mean, we're all super busy, but I would like to ask you, we don't really have any cool sponsored moments on the show like we typically do. Like I said, it's not a traditional show, but I'm going to kind of do a sideways cool moment. And if it were to be sponsored by anyone, it'd be
It would
Rytec.
be Rytec.
No, what's something cool Chase Deaton is doing in 2023?
Professionally, doesn't matter.
Oh,
Just
wow.
something cool that you're doing. Are you going somewhere?
Let me give you an intro. Chase Deaton, a family man, a faithful man.
Oh, well, I have several trips planned.
Ooh.
I've been taking advantage of getting out of town when I can.
Love it.
You know, so we have a trip with the old college buddies in Costa Rica in June, which I think is going to be pretty cool.
Oh my God.
Looking
yes.
forward to that.
Yes.
With some good friends of mine that one of my buddies came down from Chicago, so now he's just roped everybody in. So now we have that going on.
That's
And then otherwise, I mean, I try to get to Mexico as many times as I possibly can.
Mhm.
And when you go, you call us.
Well,
Yeah,
hey,
usually, yes.
it's just, hey, I'm good with that. But in terms of really cool things, I guess our deal right now, our lives right now is, in my life right now, is to get the children
Mhm.
moving in their direction,
Yeah,
Mhm.
their way, how they want to roll with it,
sure.
Mhm.
in a safe manner,
Yeah.
and helping them be happy. And
Absolutely.
our kids are, you know, golly, we run 7 of them, you know, from 25 down to 18.
Mhm.
And they're all remarkable, but you look at the challenges they have in their lives
Yeah.
to overcome, it's a bunch on their plates. And we're trying to get them a good foundation. So the big thing is this transition
Mhm.
time that I didn't think I'd be getting to. I'm getting to, and it's like, okay, you want them to leave, but you don't want them to leave.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just that transition. So for us, that's the big thing, especially with you say the girls,
Mhm.
you have the boys too, but you really want them to be safe
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
in a really challenging world
Mhm.
where, you know, phones, computers, and stuff that impact and influence that you have that may not be in your best interest can really negatively impact a young life. And and ruin an opportunity, because I always believed if you have a shine, if you have I call it the shine, if you shine, you have energy, that's positive. You touch one person, it changes their life.
Totally.
You don't even know what it could do with one person. My adage has always been, I guess I'll run this play again for 23, is my deal was to make at least one person smile a day. Stranger, one.
Stranger.
Whether it's making fun of myself, it's easy to do,
Yeah.
or something, just one smile a day, because if you can do that, you win.
That's awesome.
Well, you made
That is cool.
our dog Goose smile today.
Yeah.
Well, Goose made me smile. I love dogs.
Yeah.
Let's just not let me find Goose's parents who left her. Yeah.
Abandoned her. Yeah.
We'll take her fishing in the back over here.
Yeah. That's a story for another day.
Yes, it is.
We will tell the long story of the goose,
But-
how we found the goose.
Yes, but that is cool. That's cool. Creating that kind
Kind of foundation, especially around transitional times. Like I work with teenagers and young adults, and it's a very turbulent time. It's a time where there can be a lot of confusion and a lot of influences coming from every direction. So it's how do you find the right ones to follow? And so when you have a good foundation at home, it is so helpful towards making those right decisions and taking
Totally.
those steps towards the life that you actually want to build versus the ones that are distracting to you. So that is a
And
really
that translates,
cool
by the way, once you do that,
thing.
and translates professionally as well. Because as I mentioned with Rytec, we've had a massive transition we've never had before, had to overcome before.
Yeah.
We have 5 or 6 new guys in the field.
Wow.
It's never happened for us before. Now, that happens to bode well for me, though, in dealing with people who come incredibly impatient, very impatient, from what I've been told, and I demand excellence, I mean, of myself and people around me. And so when you try to run that way, it's like people maybe aren't geared that way,
Yeah.
and that's the maturity aspect. To realize maybe they don't want to put that effort into it, and good for them if they can balance that out. And they work to live, not live to work.
Right.
And it's really easy to get stuck in that live to work
Oh yeah.
deal. So I really look at it as sort of serendipity for me, because that transition with life and with career, it seems to be working together, and the cool thing is, it's not a mistake.
Of
It's
course not.
it's by design,
It is by design.
and you start seeing it in how it works out. You kind of look and go, hey, thanks, I appreciate that. You got me out of a jam. Can you get me out of this jam, and that jam?
Right. Right. What about these other ones over here?
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's been interesting, that transition, how it works itself out. And I don't know what else to say other than that.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel very fortunate,
Yeah.
incredibly blessed,
That's awesome.
but I want more.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well,
And what do you do?
Yeah.
so for the next 5 years, Rytec, what's the plan here? Not for you personally. What's Rytec's 5-year plan? It could be innovation. It can be after you guys do your lean manufacturing and go more automated in the plant.
That's
After
going
that,
to lead us down a rabbit hole where I think what we're going to go into is expand into different markets even further.
Okay.
With specialty doors. You look at, even in our segment, the segment within the segment.
Sure.
Walk-in cooler guys.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, that's a whole different world that you don't even think about, right? Because most don't see it, right? Or most don't see what we do. But for us, once we hit the smart factory, it's going to be, we're going to be a beast. You got to feed the beast. So it's going to be pushing out lots of product in different segments.
Yep.
And I believe what we're going to see in processing, food processing, we'll have new introductions to that in products for that particular segment. One that would feed off of an old product that started the high-speed doors in the United States, which was the fast fold door, the old folding door.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine bringing that concept back in a different way in processing, and you get the best of both worlds. And it's a neat product, and we just haven't promoted it properly. But the processing segment, we're going to see significant growth, and that's a difficult segment to play in because you don't want to be on the news with Sally Salmonella or Larry Listeria. You don't want to have those people attached to you. But no, that's where the growth will come into play for us.
I love it. That's awesome.
More specialized.
I dig it.
No, if it's a commodity, you don't need me.
Well, thank you, Chase, for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming here on behalf of Rytec, our first sponsor, and being a part of our first sponsorship spotlight series.
Well, I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, that's
More
awesome.
than one way. You guys do an outstanding job. And, you know, I've always wondered, what's it like to wake up being pretty?
You should ask your significant other instead of us.
I will do that.
I dig it, man. Well, Chase, thank you for your time.
And your sponsorship.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
your
support.
Your support's huge.
Big believer in what you guys are doing.
We love working with you on all these jobs that we're on too. It's a great, even when we're not physically in a contract together, you're still on these jobs with us, and I love to see it. Dude, just keep kicking ass out there, man, and we love you, and everyone out there that's listening, we thank you guys so much for allowing us to just be a bunch of cool idiots.
Totally. We are definitely idiots.
But honestly, we're just trying to spread the love and spread the cool stories and everyone's story, and everyone's made an impact on someone's life, and if this could, brighten someone's day while they listen to it in their car on their iPhone, I mean,
Then we won.
then we won, man. So
Yeah, we won.
the knowledge that you give us, I mean, that might help someone on someone's doing a job right now, and they had those questions, and you probably answered their question, because they were listening, and we live in a crazy world. So we thank you, and how do people find Chase Deaton on
Yes,
LinkedIn, social
remind our
media,
listeners.
email, cell phone? What do you want to give out?
What do I want to give out?
Besides,
I'm accessible via email and cell phone.
okay. You want to give out your email, or should we put it in the show notes?
You put it in the show notes.
We'll do that. We'll show notes, and then what's the website?
www.rytecdoors.com.
Rytecdoors.com. All right, everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, thank you.